I'm going to let Senator Clinton respond, but Senator Clinton, you always say if you knew then what you know now, you wouldn't have voted like that. But why can't you just say right now that that vote was a mistake?
Well, Wolf, I think that if you look at what was going on at the time, and certainly I did an enormous amount of investigation and due diligence to try to determine what, if any, threat could flow from the history of Saddam Hussein being both an owner of and a seeker of weapons of mass destruction. The idea of putting inspectors back in, that was a credible idea. I believe in coercive diplomacy. I think that you try to figure out how to move bad actors in a direction that you prefer in order to avoid more dire consequences. And if you took it on the face of it, and if you took it on the basis of what we hoped would happen with the inspectors going in, that in and of itself was a policy that we've used before. We have used the threat of force to try to make somebody change their behavior. I think what no one could have fully appreciated is how obsessed this president was with this particular mission. And unfortunately, I and others who warned at the time, who said let the inspectors finish their work, do not wage a preemptive war, use diplomacy, we're just talking to a brick wall. But, it's clear that if I had been president, we would never have diverted our attention from Afghanistan. When I went to Afghanistan the first time and was met by a young soldier from New York in the 10th Mountain Division who told me that I was being welcomed to the forgotten front lines in the war against terror, that just struck me so forcefully that we have so many problems that we are going to have to untangle. And it will take everyone. It'll take a tremendous amount of effort. But the one thing I am convinced of is that if we go into our campaign against the Republicans with the idea that we are as strong as they are and we are better than they are on national security, that we can put together an effective strategy to go after the terrorists, because that is real, that is something that we cannot ignore at our peril, then we will be able to join the issues of the future. And I think that's what Americans are focused on. What are we going to do going forward? Because day after day, what I spend my time working on is trying to help pick up the pieces for families and for injured soldiers, trying to make sure that they get the help that they need, trying to give the resources that are required. We had to fight to get body armor. George Bush sent people to war without body armor. So we need a president who will be sensitive to the implications of the use of force and understand that force should be a last resort, not a first resort.
So what I hear you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you were naive in trusting President Bush?
No, that's not what you hear me saying. Good try, Wolf. Good try.
Was she naive, Senator Obama?
Well, you asked the question.
All right, go ahead.
I deserve to answer.
I thought you weren't going to answer.
No, I think that, that is a good try, Wolf. The point is that I certainly respect Senator Obama making his speech in 2002 against the war. And then when he came to the Senate, we've had the same policy because we were both confronting the same reality of trying to deal with the consequences of George Bush's action. I believe that it is abundantly clear that the case that was outlined on behalf of going to the resolution, not going to war, but going to the resolution, was a credible case. I was told personally by the White House that they would use the resolution to put the inspectors in. I worked with Senator Levin to make sure we gave them all the intelligence so that we would know what's there. Some people now think that this was a very clear, open and shut case. We bombed them for days in 1998 because Saddam Hussein threw out inspectors. We had evidence that they had a lot of bad stuff for a very long time, which we discovered after the first Gulf War. Knowing that he was a megalomaniac, knowing he would not want to compete for attention with Osama bin Laden, there were legitimate concerns about what he might do. So I think I made a reasoned judgment. Unfortunately, the person who actually got to execute the policy did not.
Senator?
I don't want to